Before introducing our next guest, let's set the scene. You're prepared for a wonderful evening with your loved one. The lights are low, as is the mood music on the stereo. You're both sitting on the lounge. You take her hand in yours. You put your arms around her and you look into her eyes. And under Cupid's spell, she holds you close and whispers into your ear, "I'm hungry." Now, what can you do? What gastronomical delight can you come up with in the shortest possible time without breaking the mood of the evening? The ideal seductive supper. If anyone knows what to serve at a moment like that, it's our own culinary seductor extraordinaire, Bernard King. Can he produce the goods? Let's find out as we welcome Mr. Debonair himself, Bernard King, here with us. More steps for Mr. King, Mr. Ziegfeld.
Steps,
You
yes,
love
more
steps.
You certainly begin with such a circumstance with the very simplest operation. There is nothing quite generates excitement in any ear, not just the feminine ear, like the pop of the cork.
Ah, right.
It is so believed by women that you can even pop a cheap champagne and get away with it. Barossa.
Barossa. Oh,
I thought you might like to begin the evening with just
Oh, hey, Bernard, if I had one of those, I could possibly crawl out of here. I'm not,
one champagne. One champagne and he'd crawl.
very cheap drunk.
I'm not offering you a cheap.
No, I didn't say it was cheap. I mean, it doesn't cost you a lot of money to get me loaded. That's a...
Well, just to have in your hand. Now, obviously, the good bachelor preparing for such an evening, and God knows we work on it, don't we?
Yes, we certainly do.
We work so much harder on that you don't get time to enjoy the evening. But, oh, says he, by the time you've done the preparation, you're too damn tired. You become like a suburban husband and drop off at 10 o'clock. A little hors d'oeuvre nibble is always
Suburban
wise.
husbands drop off at 10 o'clock?
That's what we mean by suburban.
Yes, right, yes. Okay.
There, at this moment, half the girls tuning in are saying, "Fred, Fred, he's on."
Yeah.
Fred's going,
Yes. That's true.
and we think we're so enchanting, and there's Fred going, "Oh, bloody,
Right.
She's saying, "He's lovely, I like him."
Yes.
There's a vicious fight in 9 out of 10 lounge rooms at the moment, you think.
A lot of women don't know that their husbands watch television when they're asleep. You know that?
It should always be at the end of the bed. That's a point you should know. If you discover yourself in the company of a television viewing addict, television, like your etchings, should always be in the bedroom.
Really?
With a switch at your left hand, hidden with a plush piece, of course, so that the moment when MASH has just delivered its final comment, or Gregory Peck has leant across the shoulder of Audrey Hepburn, you can drop it off very quickly.
The television?
Yes.
Yes, right. Okay.
A little hors d'oeuvre nibble to start is a very good idea. Now, what I've planned for you, because you're a poor, lonely bachelor, I know what misery it must be.
Yes.
I've planned dishes that you can do. Somebody's a lonely bachelor there, too. It is misery, isn't it? Sitting around in the luxury apartment night after night, waiting for the clatter of little high heels. It's so lonely, isn't it?
Or big high heels, depending on...
Well, in your case, you didn't need them.
Yeah, right.
I've done a marinade. And this dish can really be, at that moment, cooked with one hand, so that the other hand can be involved in all the vital activities of the evening.
Right.
So you could set up your pan bedside. You see, with contemporary woman, it's an extremely difficult project. The seduction routine is more tedious every day because she has read The Joy of Loving and every page of Woman's Day, and she knows what you should be doing.
That's right, yes, okay.
She's thinking, it's 10 past 10, he should be up to step 1.
Right, yes. Okay.
It's 15 past 10, he's not up to step 2. My zipper is still intactus, you know?
Right.
So, this little number, when you finally get to there, is simply, I'll show you what happens to get to this stage,
Right.
which good bachelors do well ahead of time.
Right.
That has a little more fiddle to it. And while it's continuing, would you like to try one of those? We've gone to special trouble.
They look like this. These look like just mushrooms with something in them. What is that?
Oh, the something is really something. The something is a little cream cheese,
Yes.
but lavished with some Grand Marnier.
Oh.
And we use the mushrooms because they do have a minuscule quantity of vitamin E.
Is there anything you cook that you can't get loaded on or something?
Oh, no, well, you don't have to try that. We did for you as well artichoke bottoms, and terms like bottoms should come into the conversation while you're cooking
Oh,
for such a
certainly, yes.
person.
I understand.
Try a little bottom, my dear.
Right.
Even the word artichoke is not a bad start.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
there's a
right.
sensual ingredient there.
Those are very nice.
Artichoke bottoms packed with a little grouse, slowly, gently casseroled in port, and then served en gelée. Now, this is a marinade. Now, while I'm offering it for Don himself, as
Right.
a simple thing that Don can do, it is planned as a dish that any ordinary household could present for the barbecue. I'm offering it to you here as a bedside barbecue.
Right.
Because we're not the rugged outdoor types, for God's sake. Who needs to run around the paddock with air guard in the air? you
Yes.
know? My most rugged moments are bedside.
Yeah, they are.
There's always that nervous will she or is it headache day? you
That's
know?
right, yes. Right.
And if you've gone to all that trouble, see, Woman's Day have helped the female, but not one man's magazine has done a thing for us. Not at all. And we are the community's most vital service. We're the necessary bachelor.
Oh, I never thought of it that way, but it's nice to know.
But at every party, you see.
Right. Oh,
Who
yes,
are
you
they?
always invite one for the loose coat. Right.
Right, yeah, the loose girl, that's the one.
Yes.
So, your process is a marinade and then a gentle simmer. I'll show you what the marinade is, because it's very important that you do this overnight.
Oh, I
so,
see.
if she's coming tomorrow night,
Yeah.
this is the bit of work you do tonight before you head to the gym to get into condition for tomorrow night.
Right.
You need a little tomato paste. Now, that can be any brand, any label, and depending on the quantity of meat, it's known as, in the business, in my business, as a dollop of tomato paste.
A dollop.
Yes, followed by some dark honey. Now, these are all vitally healthy ingredients to add to a dish. The honey just takes a moment to get excited enough to run. This honey doesn't know what it's heading for, I can assure you, but then nor does she, for that matter.
Some people say honey is an aphrodisiac.
I've included... Oh, look at that sticky thing. I've included an aphrodisiac, and later on there's a little touch of aphrodisia, a little touch of Tabasco. Very important because she might just suddenly go... And who knows what that can generate in your mind.
Yes.
Now, we've done some genteel garlic so her husband will know where she's been overnight.
Right, yes.
And I've used a garlic flake, which doesn't so much tend to stay on the breath. And we could add, which we will do a little later, some cognac, but we'll keep that for the pan, for that final flourish.
Right.
Needs a squeeze of lemon, no need to de-pip.
Oh.
The chances are the pip might be a nice surprise too, you know. Ooh, this is where you find out the truth about it. Oh, I have a pip under my plate, it shatters the evening.
Right, yes. Finding the truth, yes.
Yes, yes. Then
All right.
then you suddenly start to discover that the facts are not exactly what you had in mind. And then you take, for us, because we are, shall we say, a little more echelon
Right.
than the poor folk, I've lined up here as well the cuts that could take that kind of treatment for those who are, shall we say, trapped in the budget bracket.
Right. Good idea, yes, for people who can, I got
you
it.
know, some people who view us are not exactly up there. They haven't achieved the luxury that we enjoy. But then they've been hampered by children and relatives and all that kind of tedium. We have some blade or some round steak, which, if you apply to the marinade system, will work just as well. Now, you and I are going to use a fillet. And if you take the fillet to prepare these slivers and just run the knife full lengthwise like that, you then find these beautiful slivers of meat, which, with a very genteel slice, is then cut into fine pieces, which are mouth-size, sensual pieces, that with that one hand, you say, open wide, and if she's lucky, you drop in a piece of meat.
Right.
Just little slivers like that, see? Dropped into the marinade and allowed to soak at least overnight. That's
Right.
very important to our process.
So the marinade is a little garlic, tomato paste, and lemon juice so far.
And some honey and
some honey,
Tabasco,
right, yeah.
see?
Right.
And you make
And
enough
Tabasco.
to cover the meat well.
Right.
Now, the significant thing is that that marinade will compensate for a cheaper cut too. If the meat is a fairly ordinary cut, an inexpensive one, then the longer you marinate it, the better it's going to
Does
be.
it tenderize? Is that what it does?
It certainly does tenderize. Did you bring your terribly extravagant, expensive cigarette? You're not going to try the artichoke with grouse?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I'll try it. What is this here?
That's a special little pâté in a tiny pastry shell, en croûte, you know?
En croûte. Oh, I see.
It's a thing that we say in cooking, it means in pastry. Now, there already, because the meat
Nice.
is of fine quality,
Uh-huh.
you might even like to take a little sliver of that. The point to this being, notice it's nearly entirely a one-handed operation. So
Right.
there you are, propped against the plush luxury velvet of the bed head, and maybe even on the top right-hand corner of the electric blanket. This is continuing. You see. So the left hand is helping her to turn the pages of the recipe book that she brought.
Right, I got you.
Being a contemporary woman, she's bound to have brought the book.
And how long does this cook before it's
Well,
cooked?
it's ready now because it's a fine quality meat, so it can be served rare. And if I choose a tiny piece,
Yes.
and if you care to perhaps blow on it a little,
Okay.
we have even here a serviette to help you with the mopping.
Oh,
up,
my goodness.
Should a little problem strike you.
Yes. It'd be very dangerous if you drop this in your bed, however.
More dangerous if you drop it down the cleavage. Yours or your companion's. That moment of genuine truth. It should be butter soft.
Well, that's fantastic, Brian.
Is it really fantastic?
I mean it. That is
it would be.
fantastic.
I had hoped it would be.
Going through wonderful.
And very fortifying, you see.
Yes.
Now, when you come to that...
Red meat, of course. I mean, that gives you drive, doesn't it?
That moment, you see.
Yes.
When we come to the serving,
Yes.
that's where the final moment of truth arrives. You serve it on a bed of parsley.
Uh-huh.
Now, that's... For those who will take a rare steak, that's ready. And we tumble it straight from there to a bed of parsley. The parsley is a genuinely believable aphrodisiac.
Is it really?
Yes, the Egyptians...
It's also good if you eat garlic and things. What the Egyptians want, I'm sorry.
The Egyptians believed in parsley.
Did they?
It is said that Cleopatra force-fed Mark Antony day upon day with parsley.
Is that right?
Wore his teeth out, but he looked lovely.
Get me 4 buckets of parsley for after. I like it.
Well, you do need about 4.5 acres a day to have any real... I'm trying to develop it in pill form to save us the eternal munching of it all.
Yes.
Now, there you are, you see.
I think that's brilliant, Brian.
Ready in a moment.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. You got a little recipe for yourself for a little midnight supper and a little seduction dinner or whatever we
And
got.
it really works. And it's all finger pieces, you see, which is very sensual.
I think it's fantastic.
Yes,
Thanks, Bernard.
Ciao, ciao.
A pleasure. All right. We'll be back. Darryl Hall and John Oates got a song for you, and we're going to talk to them. Hang in there.